All right, we're here today on the second to last episode of the podcast with Margaret Brooks from RPCS. Margaret, you've been in my class for 2 years, starting American Lit last year, and this year with our leadership character class, which was a good class, good time.
Awesome.
And you just graduated yesterday from RPCS. How do you feel?
It's weird. It's like very surreal. I feel like it hasn't really like set in for me. But I don't know. It's like a good feeling. Like I feel like there's a lot of like, it's kind of like a weight off my chest. Like finals are over and like summer's coming, so that's fun. But yeah, it's just strange. I just like.
And you were there for 4 years, RPCS.
I was there for 2.
2 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
I transferred from Towson my sophomore year.
Okay. Oh, right. So you were a new student last year in American Lit. I remember that.
Yeah.
What was that like? So that's not a typical, students transferring in sophomore year. Was that tough? Was that tough at first?
Well, it was weird. So when I switched from Towson, like I didn't really like go into the school that much because it was like COVID and it was like freshman year I didn't go in at all. And then sophomore it was like a hybrid thing. And so I don't know, it was weird because like I knew a lot of the girls at RPCS, so it wasn't like super new for me, and I didn't feel like really out of place. I feel like I had like they were like my friends, so I feel like I like kind of fit in easily, and it was like that was good. But it was weird because I just feel like I don't know, public school and private school are just like so different, and so like adjusting to like I don't like the way things work, and like the RPCS schedule, it's like in the afternoons, it's like kind of open, and so you like meet with your teachers more, and like you have a lot like you have to kind of like control your own time, and it's like I don't know, the time management aspect of it is something that I had to adjust to, but other than that, it was good. It was
that
easy.
Makes sense. So that is true here at Gilman too. That makes sense in the afternoons, the open nature of the schedule, because you're sort of getting ready for college and you need like to figure out how to get work done in an unstructured way, right? Yeah. Was that pretty beneficial for you?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the afternoons being free and like having the freedom to like do what I want, it's helped me so much to like develop kind of like like the skills that I need for college, but it's also like kind of bad because you can just like goof off for the entire afternoon. Like I would definitely do that. Like me and all my friends would get a study room and like we would either talk or do all of our homework.
It's hard.
So it's like, but it's really nice because at Towson, like I never had that. And so it was just like back-to-back classes. And then like the school day ended at 2. So it was like a lot shorter than the school day at RPCS. But I don't know, it's like being able to do your homework in school it's really helpful because you're still kind of like in a productive environment. Like I can't really.
What is Towson like? I don't know if I've ever talked to anyone who went to Towson.
It's a bigger school, so I don't know. It's just like very different. Like the class periods are like kind of the same, where it's like 4 classes a day and they're longer. But I don't know. It's just like a lot more students. Like the classes are very big, and it's kind of I feel like it's hard to connect with your teachers. So. I don't know. It's okay. Like I didn't like dislike it strongly. I just kind of wanted something else.
Yeah. I was at a wedding this past weekend with some high school friends, and we were talking about our high school, obviously, because that's what comes up. And my high school was so interesting, and like teaching at Gilman and thinking about. I went to a very, very big not very big, but pretty large public school for high school. 517 kids in my grade, so like 2,000 plus in the high school.
Oh wait, yeah, that's so big.
So we were talking about how there were so many different types of like you saw everything. Like my group of friends are like smart, pretty responsible, fairly responsible. A lot of athletes in my sort of circle, but there were kids in my grade who were. What's interesting is like you would drive to school in the morning. Like sometimes my parents would drop me off at school, and the neighborhood right next to our school, like where the line of the school cut off, you would see like 20 kids out there smoking cigarettes at 6 o'clock in the morning. Like the type of kid in my high school was so many different types of kids. And my mom, I remember she'd always be like, if you're ever out there smoking a cigarette, I'll kill you. Like that is insane. But like there are kids that were really into skateboarding. There are kids who were really into music. You just saw so many different types, and you'd see these like 20 kids smoking cigarettes at 6 in the morning. It's like, oh my God, that's kind of scary. That's like pretty dark.
Yeah, I feel like that's so interesting that you said that because I think it's kind of good though to like have that experience because like I think at like Roland Park, like I never would have known that like a school can like be like that, because it was like that at Towson too. Like, yeah, people would like smoke, and so I don't know. I feel like that was beneficial for me to like see that kind of atmosphere, and also it was like co-ed, so it's like that it has that aspect too. So.
Yeah, like there are teen pregnancies in and thinking about it now, I'm like, oh my God, like you'll never see that really at Gilman. Oh, yeah. But like in my high school, it was sort of like, oh yeah, there's, what's her name? Has a baby.
Wow.
Like there were a lot of different types of people, different, the rich kids, the poorer kids, kids from this neighborhood. And we weren't even in the city. We were outside of the city, kind of in the suburbs, but you just saw so many different people, which I think you're right. I think is a good thing. It opens your eyes a little bit to life.
Like the real world, kind of like that stuff, that's,
Yeah, and in some ways you're protected from that, for better or for worse, at like the small independent school. So you sort of got the mix of both experiences.
Yeah, no, I'm glad I did. It was good. And but I feel like I like an all-girls school too. Like that's something that I've grown to really like. Like I was kind of skeptical of what that would be like for me at first, but it's also like you can like the tri-school thing like makes it so it's not 100%. But yeah. So
you're pro all-girls school. You think that's helpful? That was helpful for you as a teenager to be in that environment? Because I go back and forth on that, because I feel like the co-ed model, and again, I work at an all-boys school. Like I feel like the co-ed model is good for kids to be able to talk to people of the other sex in the same classroom and not just see them, on the Saturday night sort of deal.
Yeah. No, I think I agree. I've thought about this a lot. I can't like fully decide. I feel like it's good to like, I don't know, I feel like going to an all-girls school is like very bonding, and like it's just like I've just loved the experience. But I think like what we have, like the tri-school thing, is like ideal, because it's like you can have that, like the all-girls, and then you can come over and like talk to boys and like kind of get that. But it's so interesting because like when I switched from Towson, I was like, so like I think like, I mean, I'm sure a lot of girls are like okay with like speaking up in classes with boys, but like I just I've like been doing it my whole life, and I think junior year, like that's when it first started, right? Mm-hmm. So I think there was like some hesitation, or like it was kind of uncomfortable for some other girls that I went to school with, but I wasn't uncomfortable. And then like as the year progressed, and like this year progressed, I was like a little bit like less like wanting to speak up, kind of, because I feel like I just like I like being in classes with girls more, if that makes sense. Like it's just
interesting. So you sort of went backwards in some sense,
like maybe like just way? In my head like a little bit, or maybe my classes just changed. Like I don't think it was like a noticeable change, but I just feel like Gilman is like its own place, and like RPCS is its own place, and like sometimes I felt a little bit more hesitant to speak up in Gilman classes this past year. But
yeah, it's interesting because I remember when you you switched classes last year. You were in one of my sections and you came into the other section. Your schedule switched or something, right? And when you came into the other class, I felt like the dynamic in the entire class changed, because for the beginning of the year, the class was sort of on eggshells. Like no one really was that comfortable speaking up in the coordinate setting. Mm-hmm. And you were very comfortable in both classes because you just came from this, this co-ed school, public school. Mm-hmm. So when you started speaking up more, I think that gave everyone a little bit more confidence, right? To open their mouth a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is not always true. It's hard, like my first couple of years teaching, I was like, why is no one talking? Why is it so awkward? Why are the girls over here and the guys over there?
Yeah. Well, I think that, okay, so it's funny because in my art history class this past year, I think I like didn't speak up because I just like didn't know literally anything, but it was like she didn't do assigned seating, and I just felt like the girls sat at one side and the boys sat at the other, and I feel like it's so important like in that like in this circumstance to like do assigned seating and like integrate, because like I just feel like naturally like you gravitate to your friends, and like girls like they're friends with girls, and then the guys are friends with the guys, so it's just like you sit with the girls and then the guys sit with the guys, and then there's just like this separation, and it's not good. So I think the assigned seating was like a good idea on your part.
Yeah, I think that did. I mean I tried everything to get it to be comfortable, because I get it, it's like you're in high school, you've got some insecurities as a high school person. You don't know these people in the room. They're coming from a different school. I get why people would be in their shell.
Yeah, totally.
I tried everything, and I think some classes work, and some classes have that chemistry, and other classes it just doesn't for whatever reason.
Right.
So it's an interesting experiment.
Yeah, definitely.
But you feel like senior year, you feel like you got much closer with your class?
Yes.
Your group of girls?
Totally. Like I feel like senior year, it's like everyone says this, but like you just bond so much as a class because like everyone's leaving and it's sad. But it's unfortunate because I just feel like everyone gets so close senior year and like you wish that it was like everyone was like that before. But yeah, it's making it like so hard to leave. Like I don't want to leave any of my friends, but yeah.
So you're excited though for the next step, Charleston. How did you find Charleston? Why is Charleston the decision you made? Like what was it about that place that you now want to go to college there?
Yeah, it's a good question. Like I hadn't visited the city like before finding out about the college. Like I went to, well, I have a family friend that goes there, and so I like just was interested in the college because of what like she loved it. And then Charleston, like the rep came to RPCS and like gave a talk about Charleston, and I was like very interested by it. So then I went and visited, and I loved it. I just love the city. I love the college. Like everyone there is just so nice. I love South Carolina and Charleston, and the location for me is like that matters so much. So.
Yeah, Charleston's an amazing city. I remember it's very walkable, and there's so much to do. Like that, what's that one street in the middle called King Street?
Yeah.
Like anything you need is on King Street.
So true.
And there's so much. There are restaurants, bars, places to shop.
There's a beach. Like 20 minutes away, but yeah,
the water's right there.
Yeah, it definitely has it all. I remember like when I first visited, like I walked down King Street and like you can just walk like straight down to like the Battery where all these like beautiful houses are, and like the water, it was just so, it was lovely.
There's that historic feel in Charleston too.
Yes, there is.
Do you know much about the history of Charleston? Have you dug into that at all?
Well, I'm majoring in so when the rep came, I asked her, because I'm interested in architecture, and I asked her if there was like an architectural major, and she was like, we don't have that, but we have historic preservation and community planning, which I thought was so interesting. So when I visited the college, well, I did some research on it, and then I visited the college, and I like went into the building and met the teacher, and it was just like, I just like loved everything about it. And historic preservation and community planning is basically like, it's kind of like self-explanatory. It's just like about preserving the history of buildings in specific locations. And yeah, that was like a huge pull for me. Like that major was so interesting, and just like that, and then it being paired with the location, and I love history. So I don't know, for me, that just all was like, it was like a perfect blend.
Yeah, it's so interesting. And I don't know much about this, but I know Charleston was like the capital or the most bustling city in terms of slavery in the 1800s. And I know that Charleston as a city is doing a lot to sort of like figure out a way to, remember that history, but also like change, some of the plantations that exist in Charleston and some of the history surrounding slavery in that city. So I think what you're interested in is going to be very interesting sort of in the future, is like, how are you going to, as a city, reckon with the past of slavery and plantations and all that happened in Charleston. It's like the first shots of the Civil War were fired like right there.
Sumter, yeah. But what was I going to say? I forgot.
How did you get into architecture? When did that start?
Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. My mom is an interior designer, and I feel like I like want this major to like kind of like give me a good basis on like the design world, because that's what I think I want to be an interior designer. And so for me, like that was what it was. Like my grandfather was an architect, and my mom's a designer, so I feel like that kind of inspired me, and like I've like explored that a lot on my own, but that's what introduced me to that.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
Great. That's good that you know sort of what you want to do,
who knows?
Have a sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you'll discover a ton of different things when you get down there, but do you know anyone else who's going down with you, or is it? Yeah.
So there's another girl from RPCS named Lily Moreau who's going. And there's a couple other girls from other schools in Baltimore who are going, but I'm not like super close with anyone who's going to be down there, which is, I think it's good, because I feel like it's good not to go with like your best friend to college and kind of like make new friends. But I do have like a lot of mutual friends and like family friends who are going from out of state. So is it mostly South Carolinians who go to Charleston, or is it a mix? I'm actually not sure. A lot of all the girls that I know that are going are like from up north. So I think that's interesting. I get that you'd want to be somewhere like warmer, but yeah, I don't know any South Carolinians who are going to be there, but I'm sure it's like maybe the in-state population is high. Yeah,
at this wedding I went to, I was talking to I was staying at this friend of a friend's house, and his younger sister goes to Ole Miss.
Oh, yeah.
And she was talking about being a northerner. I think they're from New Jersey, in a southern school. And I've just found it interesting because, like, I think that is becoming a little bit more popular as northern. I guess Baltimore you wouldn't consider the north, but in this sense you maybe would. Mm-hmm. Going down to some of these bigger southern schools like Alabama and Ole Miss, and I guess Charleston's not huge, but it's southern school.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to sort of work your way into the southern culture and figure that out.
I feel like at like Ole Miss, it's like so different. Like Ole Miss and Charleston are like so different because like Ole Miss, it's like
big football.
Yeah, it's like SEC school. Like it's like the football school. In Charleston, I feel like it's more of like a bubble of. It's not. But it's definitely like a southern school. Like the sorority rushing at like Alabama is like crazy.
Yeah, that's what she was talking about. Yeah. Is like that stuff is crazy.
Yeah, there's sororities at Charleston and people do that, but I don't think it's as big of a deal. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, she was saying that people at Ole Miss, like, you have to have a certain zip code or be from a certain area to even be considered to some of these sororities. They're so competitive. Like you've got to be Southern. You've got to have a parent who's from that area. Like all of this stuff. And she was like, as a New Jersey person, I'm just sort of an outcast at this school.
Yeah. Well, so is she in a sorority or is it like?
I think she's trying to get into one, or she was something like that. And she was like, it's just hard being from the North and at Ole Miss, this big football school that it's all about Greek life there.
Yeah. So. I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah. That's a lot. So what are you most excited for, do you think, when you get down? When do you have to go? August?
Yeah, I think I go like August 15th, which is good. It's not like too soon, but I actually go early for sorority rush. So that's
so it starts freshman year.
Yeah, it starts freshman year. I'm not excited for that part. Like I feel like going in and like immediately having to like rush is just not something that I'm like super excited.
What have you heard about the rush process at Charleston?
I don't think it's nothing like crazy. Like I've heard some rumors, but I don't think it's like super aggressive. Like you just have to do like get the recommendation from like a Tri-Delt or whatever sorority you want to be in.
Yeah.
And I mean, you have to like buy a lot of clothes because you need like new outfits every day.
Yeah.
And then that's like it. And everyone I know is like doing it. So it's just like, I mean, at least everyone's in it together. I feel like that's kind of like a bonding experience because like, I mean, you're like kind of making new friends right off the bat. But I don't know. I think it'll be fine. I haven't heard any like insane rumors.
I think that's good because you'll meet a lot of people in those first couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then you'll feel maybe more comfortable there that you know people outside of the one person from RPCS who's going, right?
So true. Yeah. But what I'm most excited for, I don't know. I feel like just like making new friends, like being in a different location. I'm really excited to like, I don't know, like kind of have the academic freedom. Like I really love the classes at Roland Park and like Gilman and but I just feel like being able to maybe like take a different type of math class is something I'm looking forward to, and like picking my schedule and just making it, because I feel like the classes in college are more like niche to your interests. Like you have more like freedom in what classes you take. So I'm excited for that. I can't wait.
So thinking about your classes at RPCS and Gilman, and I know you've talked to me about some of the things that you've liked that we've learned about, like the Transcendentalists. I know that you're really into.
Yeah.
What have been some of like the highlights for you in high school, some of the things that you learned that you really sort of liked or enjoyed the most?
That's a really good question. I feel like it's so interesting because like I like the Transcendentalists. I loved like American literature in general because it was like, the infusion of like history and English, like that was just so interesting to me. And before that I was like reading The Stranger. Like I was just like, I'm not into this, like just not my thing. And so I don't know. I think I took an American history class last year with Miss Marks at Roland Park, and she's also my advisor. She's retiring this year, which is unfortunate. I'll miss her, but I loved her class. Like I just feel like, I don't know, like the topic like of American literature, like that being like more specific. Like I just thought that was so interesting to me. I've loved learning about that. And yeah.
I feel like the humanities were sort of your favorite classes,
definitely.
History and English.
I don't think I'm too good at like math or anything. So yeah.
Math was not
your strong suit.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I feel like it's good to like really like one of them and be like, that other one's not my thing. It's like, it's okay.
Yeah.
it's fine. I've accepted it. I've moved on. Like, math is just not my thing.
What do you think you're going to miss most about your school, Roland Park, other than the friends, like what do you like about Roland Park these past 2 years?
I feel like other than my friends, just like the sense, I don't know, like the sense of community, because like I never had like an upper school meeting or like assembly at Towson. And so like getting that was like, it's just so fun to like all come together and there'd be like announcements. And like, it's so funny because like the last upper school meeting, I was like crying. Like,
really?
yeah, oh my gosh, I love upper school meeting. Like, I don't know. It's just like, it's so fun to like be with the whole upper school. And like,
are those like the convocation speeches, or what are the upper school
yeah,
meetings?
it's like the senior speeches. And yeah, I just like loved being in the same space as everyone. And it was always so fun because it's like right after lunch, and then you go to lunch, and then you go to a meeting and like hear your friends speak. And like,
did you give a speech?
Yeah.
You did?
I did. Everyone gives a senior speech at Roland Park. It's required. I gave my speech on my grandma. So that was fun. But I did mine like really early in the year. So I was like so nervous. I was like, I just want to get this over with.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did mine early in the year, which was good. So I could really sit and enjoy my other friends without nerves. But I think it's interesting that it's like optional at Gilman.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the senior speeches were really good this year. And I think it used to be you had to do it just like Bryn Mawr and Roland Park. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I sort of like the idea of everyone having to give a last talk to the grade,
Yeah, I agree. I think it was a good experience. Like, I don't know if I would have signed up for that.
And it's hard to have to get up there in front of your whole grade.
Yeah.
Deliver a message.
Totally. It was definitely scary, but yeah, I think a really good experience. I think everyone should do it.
What was your favorite one that you heard of your friends? Did you have one?
Yeah, I did. One of my best friends, Molly Jethwa, just wrote hers about like growing up, and she's just like so good at articulating, and I thought hers were so interesting. And the person who won the senior speech award gave a great speech on like anxiety, and it was very interesting. Like, I think it's a good opportunity to like share a personal story and like lesson. I enjoyed it.
Cool. Well, let's get to the book rec that you brought in for us today.
Yes, of course. So I brought in The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I haven't quite finished it yet. I'm almost done. But I love it. It's like one of the favorite books I've ever read. It's basically about these kids who go to a college in New England and are super into like the classics. And then like, I don't want to spoil it.
You can spoil it.
Okay. Well, I don't actually know the ending yet, but basically they kill someone. Like trying.
The kids do at the school.
The kids at the school. Like it's kind of like culty, but it's like this. They all take like a really small class together, and they like read into this like Roman cult, and then they try to like recreate it, and they like accidentally kill someone, and then like their friend finds out in their small friend group who wasn't at the murder, and then they kill him, and then it's like crazy, but it's very interesting. I think Donna Tartt's writing is just like amazing and keeps you on the edge of your seat.
How did you get this book? Who gave it to you, or who recommended it?
I bought it. It was recommended to me by a friend. I just like went to the Ivy and got it. And so I don't know. It's kind of, it's like not, I wouldn't say it's like a summer read, but definitely. I think everyone should read it. I mean, she's an amazing writer. But
she read The Goldfinch, I think. Yeah. I forget who I think someone brought this book, maybe. I forget who. Jamie Howard, maybe, or another one by her.
Yeah.
But have you heard of The Goldfinch? That's like her most famous one.
I've heard of it. I've never read it, but I've heard great things. I mean, I want her to put out another book soon. I don't think she's published anything in a while, but this book is good. It's just, it's very dark, but very interesting.
I'm reading, have you ever read Huckleberry Finn?
No, I've read like excerpts, but I've never like sat down and read that book.
Yeah, so now I'm thinking back. I haven't taught Huckleberry Finn at Gilman, which is sort of a sin because it's like the one of the biggest books, and a lot of people say it's the best book in American literature. And wow. No one was really teaching it when I got to Gilman, and I feel like you have to have a sort of mastery in your teaching to be able to talk about some of the issues in Huck Finn. Like, the N-word is said like 280 something times, and the characterization of the enslaved person Jim in the story is problematic in a lot of ways. But I think I'm going to teach at my next school that I'm going to, and someone Percival Everett, the writer, just put out a book from Jim's perspective, the slave on this raft with Huckleberry Finn, and he wrote it from Jim's perspective, and it's called James. Wow. So I'm reading Huck Finn and James sort of side by side.
So interesting.
And I think that's going to be the challenge or something that I'm excited to teach next year at my next school. But totally. Yeah, it's good. It's very good.
Yeah.
So a lot of reading this summer.
Yeah. So you have to read all these books, obviously, because you're teaching them, but.
Yeah, so a lot of them are similar to what I've taught before, the same ones, like Gatsby's on there. And did you ever see Into the Wild, the movie, or read the book?
No, I didn't.
I feel like you'd like that if you're into the Transcendentalists.
Okay.
Do you know what it's about?
I'll put that on my list. No.
Oh, it's about this guy who graduates from Emory College or Emory University in Atlanta, and he's got some family issues, and he doesn't love his parents, and they bother him, and he says, screw it, I'm just going to go to Alaska and live on the land, and that's where I'm going to be happy. And he hitchhikes to Alaska, and the whole story is very transcendental. It's like we read it this year with my English class, or watched the movie and read Thoreau and Emerson and
awesome.
Talked about that.
Yeah.
But that's part of the reading list too. But yeah, there are a lot of books for teachers that I've got to read this year, which is good. I'm excited.
Good. Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, so
awesome.
I'm got to figure out a whole new system, and yeah.
Wow. So you're like excited to?
I'm excited.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sad to leave Gilman for sure, but
I'm sure it'll be similar because. Wait, Brunswick?
Brunswick.
It's all boys too, so it's
same deal.
Same deal.
Different place.
Yeah.
So should be good.
Yeah.
Well, Margaret, thank you for your time today. It's fun conversation, and yeah, best of luck, Charleston. It's exciting.
Thank you so much.
Brand new chapter for both of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, best of luck to you too.
Thank you very much.